Alright, hello. This is again precal 10. This is 2.7, the last section of chapter 2 for trigonometry. This is solving more than one triangle. This is kind of the summative, or the all your questions and your work so far kind of molded into one final ability or way of answering questions. So we are basically going to using all the trig methods you might use some inverse trig, you're going to use sine, cos, and tan. It's kind of whatever you can do to figure out the problems. There's not that many problems I can ask you guys. A lot of this is kind of looking at it like, oh, I see what I have to do. For this situation here, you're trying to find out what the heck is the length of x. You've been given a little bit of information. We've got a structure here where this angle down here is 47 degrees. This upper length is 1.8 meters. And this length here is 2.8 meters. I'm realizing now that that mathematically does not make sense, so we're going to say this is 4.8 meters. There, that works better. So, what you should be able to see, hopefully, is that all these ticks correspond. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, meaning that these two triangles are technically the exact same, which means it's safe to assume that this height here is 2.8 meters. And I know that the length from here to here is currently 4.8 meters. So if I can find this bottom length twice, I can find the total length. So again, if I label this triangle, this is the opposite. I'm trying to find the adjacent. This is technically the hypotenuse, but it doesn't really matter. Opposite and adjacent, we know that's tan. So tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. So tan of 47 equals 2.8 divided by our unknown. Again, unknown is on the bottom. It's safe to switch these. So we're going to have our unknown is equal to 2.8 divided by tan of 47. That should give us a length of 2.611 meters. Okay, so if this is 2.611 and this is also 2.611, because these two triangles are the exact same, really I just have to add all of these together. So it's 2, 4, 8, 10.022 meters. So we know our total length for x would be 10.022 meters. That's basically all we're doing, is we're basically just looking at these questions, and there's not a whole lot of ways to kind of approach. This one would usually be a word problem, so I'll kind of explain it as you go. There are two buildings. You are on top of one of them. It is 107 meters tall. And you're looking across to the other building, and you probably have an app or something on your phone where you can measure the angle of declination to the bottom of the building. And we know that it is, we'll say, 40 degrees. If you also measure the same angle of inclination, remember that's the horizontal kind of going up, we're going to measure that to be 45 degrees. And that is basically enough information to solve and figure out just how tall our second building is, as we artistically fill in our building. So, we know this is 107 meters. So if we draw a line straight across, I know that this is 107 meters. So technically, we know half the height so far. The problem is with the second triangle, I don't have any information to figure out what this guy is yet. I do know that if I find the shared side between those two triangles, I would then have enough information to solve for the height. So our first triangle, we're going to look at it like this. We know that it is 107 down here, and it is 40 degrees. I'm trying to find this side here, so that should be opposite and adjacent. So we're going to use tan. So tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. Tan of 40 degrees equals 107 divided by our unknown. Take the shortcut, we're going to swap these two. So our unknown equals 107 divided by tan of 40, which means the length between the two buildings, if you were to throw a rope across, would be 127.5. I'll keep a couple more decimal places for fun. 127.517 meters. Okay, we now then have enough information to approach our second triangle, where if we look at it, I'm more or less just drawing it just so it's an easier visualization. This is 45 degrees now, and we know that this length at the bottom is 127.517 meters. And we're now trying to find this height. Again, this is the opposite, this is the adjacent, this is technically the hypotenuse, but we don't really care. And we're going to deal with tan again. So tan theta opposite over adjacent, tan of 45 equals our unknown opposite on top over the adjacent, which is 127.517. We are going to times both sides by 127.517 to get our unknown by itself, and we're going to plug that into a calculator. 127.517 times tan of 45, which the tan of 45 should equal just 1, so this actually turns into 127.517 meters. So we know this height is actually 127.517. We're going to add that to 107 meters. So we know that the total height is going to be 234.517 meters. Not too bad. Okay. Sorry if that's going a bit fast. There's a fair amount of math involved in these guys. But the math itself usually isn't too bad. It's just kind of finding a starting point. There's lots of different ways I can ask you these or show you these, but a lot of us just kind of look at the question and developing a game plan. As far as 2.7, that's it. You're going to have 2 questions for this. There's a lot of information going on, so for question 1, you have to find the total length of this boat. It's SS boat. The height of this mast is 20 meters. If you were up top in the crow's nest, you could measure this angle here to be 37 degrees. And this angle here to be 50 degrees. You know that the mast has a width of 1 foot. Oh, I should keep these all the same units. We'll say this is in feet. So the mast is 20 feet tall. The width of your mast is 1 foot. And the sail comes down, and where it attaches, there's about a 2 foot gap and a 3 foot gap. So you should have enough information to find the total length of the boat with that. Question 2, I sort of drew basically 2 triangles. You want to find out the entire length of these two. The two are the exact same triangles. This is 30 degrees and 30 degrees, and they have a bottom length of 6 meters each. That should be it. There are no extra questions normally assigned for this section, so we'll leave it at that. Once again, if you have any questions, we should have check-in on Tuesday and Thursdays, and feel free to ask me anything then. Good luck.